All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back at it. Today is we'll do a short stream today, but as if you can see my Instagram or like I just posted on the goal difference. I'm feeling under the weather and going through a fever right now. So Josh has to he's not beside me as you can see.
I see there's a
Remotely.
little empty chair next to you.
Empty chair indeed. But hopefully, nobody should come close proximity to me. I'm having quite a bad fever. Tomorrow I'll probably go to the clinic. And let's start off with usual. The first 5 minutes of intro. I don't know how well the sound is with my mask. I think it's alright. Right? I think you guys can hear me quite pretty alright. Yeah. With that being said, yeah. Josh, how are you doing today?
Okay, man, this reminds me of the good old COVID days. But of course, hopefully you can get well soon, and then soon enough, I'll be definitely right back beside you, I'm sure. I'm
Yeah,
okay,
yeah, yeah.
quite happy. Liverpool, 2 wins this week. I mean, our top four rivals, Spurs and Newcastle, are going to play soon, so I think, hoping for maybe a draw will be good for Liverpool. But anyways, yeah, I think it's been a good week, and yeah, Thursday we went to watch the Tampines game. Lucky we managed to catch that before your fever hit.
Yeah, I think Tampines game was a great game. And I mean, it started off really well. 2 goals in like the first 10, 15 minutes, and then it just faded out. And quite a comfortable win for Tampines, which we'll get through later. Welcome, everyone. I'm sorry that we did it 1 hour earlier because I actually want to go and rest. Yeah, so, how's everyone doing today? Just spam in the chat. Welcome. Today is a bit different. I'm sick, so Josh is not beside me, but virtually he's there. And yeah, it's going to be a short episode as well. So hopefully that today we can go through a bit of the topics, right? And I think Game Week 9 was actually quite solid, right? Quite solid, quite solid. I think the games were pretty entertaining, which we'll go through that in more specific detail. And also Arsenal, man. I'm wearing my Arsenal polo. As you can see, I'm all drenched because I put like cold water. Yeah, Arsenal, man. Oh, I watched the game live and Jesus. Arsenal, we collapsed, man. I mean, Eddie right had to tell us. Eddie had to tell me that Walcott's going to score against us. Walcott hasn't scored in 2 years, and he ultimately scored against us. I think that's the end of our title chances. That's my humble opinion. And oh my
Yeah,
God,
it's
we have
a good
Jordan.
run and finish from Walcott.
Yeah, and we've got a special guest on the stream today. We've got Jordan Imavari. Welcome, mate. You're going to talk about your game on the first matchup. It was a great victory against the Sailors. You guys are on the rise, and it was great to see. Welcome. Yeah, a short stream today. And Josh, what are your thoughts? You told me just before off stream that the Sailors Arsenal are going to bottle it because of the latest 3-all draw with Southampton.
Well, I mean, the Liverpool game, Arsenal did really well to get a draw, but the
Yeah.
last two games, you have expected them to go all out and try to get the
Mm.
win. I think especially the Southampton game, I thought it would be a comfortable win at the Emirates, but how it all unfolded. But nevertheless, I think it's still a very good season for Arsenal. Maybe it's just a bit of the fatigue, the
Yeah, squad
um,
depth.
squad depth coming into play. Saliba's injury has really hurt Arsenal very, very hard. And then
Mm.
also, maybe it's that sort of experience challenging for a title. I mean, this season will definitely do them well for the future seasons to come.
Yeah, mentally we are young squad. I think prior to this season, if Josh told me that we will be third or second, I would say that he's very optimistic. Liverpool fan thinking about Arsenal. But I think at the end of the day, I think it can be quite proud with what Arsenal has achieved with the kind of limited squad depth that we have in a young squad. It will probably push us for like what Josh said for future seasons, right? Yeah. So with that being said, we're gonna tackle right into Game Week 9 soon. Welcome everyone. Cheers. I hope that I'm speaking all right. Yeah, and I actually wanted to do this stream because I think this week I'm gonna get knocked out. So I'm just and I miss you guys, man. Like legit, Josh and we really miss you guys. And it's gonna be a long break, right? It's gonna be what, 2 weeks break? I know there'll be SEA Games in Cambodia, right? And we're gonna support our under 23 team, right? But SPL will be on a 2 week break. Okay, so let's get cracking. Let's get cracking, yo. What are your thoughts about Game Week 9 actually, Josh?
Yeah, I thought, Albirex coming out strong again. So, I mean,
Mm.
that's really well done for them. And then Tampines, they struggled a bit against Hougang
Yeah.
in the previous game, but they came out strong against Brunei and they really put in a very professional performance to see it out.
For sure. And then actually we can get right into it, right? We're going to talk about the Young Lions performance. I think that will be the first game, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, Young Lions versus the Lion City Sailors. I hope I'm not clipping. I'm clipping on my headphones, but I think I should be good. I should be good. Anyways,
Yeah.
what a game! I put this as the game of the week, right? We've got Mr. Penalty Scorer in the midst of us today. Great penalty. Would you? I mean, the controversy was that maybe it was not a penalty. I don't know, but I would reckon that Lionel actually kind of got away with the handball earlier on, like like 5 minutes or 8 minutes before the penalty. I'll give it to Josh. Josh, what are your thoughts about this game?
Yeah, I thought when people saw this fixture, most people would be saying that it's going to be a very comfortable LCS win. And based on the first half, I think it could have been at least 3 or 4 nil to LCS. But I thought second half, Young Lions were fantastic. They came out, they really fought very hard, and they actually limited LCS to I think maybe 2 good opportunities. But other than that, I thought Young Lions really put up quite a fight, and they really deserve a draw at the end of the day, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think also the fact that Jacob Mahler, what a standout performance from the highlight from him. He tackled Lopez, was it? That last ditch tackle. Was it Lopez or Hafiz? No, I can't remember. On top of my head.
I think it
But
was
was it?
Razak, if I'm not
Oh,
wrong.
Razak. Yeah. But
There was one challenge on
mm,
Razak, I remember.
but I gotta say, right, that Abdul Razak, that miss though. Oh my! When I saw it on the highlights, I didn't watch the game, because what was I doing that day? I was watching. Was I watching a game? Wait, what was the next game? Was it? There was 2 games. Was it? No,
If
I wasn't watching
is
this
it
game. I think
the
I can't
Yeah, I think
remember.
there was a game going on at the same time. If I'm not wrong, it was Albirex
Yeah,
playing
Rex DPMM.
at the same time.
Yeah, but I mean, Abdul Razak should have done way better as with his good form, and then he missed that sitter. I think that really shifted momentum. He had scored that, it would have been 2-0. I will see Young Lions, a bit more desperate, but like what George said, right? Fair, give no, not fair props. Huge props to the team, right? I think everyone played really well. Jared Gallagher, in the Straits Times Team of the Week for Game Week 9. I think well deserved. He kept Lopez in his pocket. Josh was the one that, uh, look at who's the duo here. The Young Lions duo is here. Yeah, Jared Gallagher kept Lopez in his pocket. Great performance from JG4. And then Jacob Mahler, resounding performance from him. I think this performance is going to kind of elevate him to maybe not deter, but future move away from Young Lions in the future, and probably a very promising career. Josh, any more thoughts about this game?
Yeah, I think I said in the chat also, I've been very impressed with the Young Lions midfield three this season.
Yep.
So that would be Jared, Harris, and Kan Kobayashi, right?
Yep.
So they've actually been really solid in a lot of games. And I think we've seen certain teams struggle, especially in midfield, especially later on in games. But you can see Young Lions is in the later stages of games where their midfield is really holding strong. So in this week alone, we saw it in the DPMM game where they came back, as well as this game where they also came back. So I think it's really helping them in the later stages of games where some teams their midfield tires, but this Young Lions midfield is really holding their own this season.
Yeah, I mean, personally, I heard rumors that Kan Kobayashi is going to Geylang, and I was really stoked because I think he was a great player at Albirex, a huge decider, a huge part of their title-winning season, right? And Kan Kobayashi going to Young Lions, I got to say that if he does neutralize in the future, I think he's a great talent, and he gives that spark that the Young Lions probably need when they depend on him. The handball was his shot, right? If I'm not wrong, the Lionel Tan, he shot it from edge of the box, and then it hit. Yeah, I think that was a penalty. And then
it's like the back of Lionel's hand, right, or his arm.
Yeah, correct. And then at the end, I mean, I don't know whether. Sorry, Josh, I don't think you addressed the penalty just now. But what do you think? Was it a penalty at the end?
It looked soft, I would say that. But I think there was a couple of incidents that happened in the box. The one that the yellow card was given for, I thought was less of a penalty, maybe.
Who was the other? Sorry to interrupt. Who was the other?
It was a tuck
Kyrian,
back on Harris.
Oh, Harris Stewart. Yeah.
So I mean, at the end of the day, the ref gave it, the VAR reviewed it, and I mean, if they came to the decision, you can only be that. And I would say, Young Lions deserve the draw for me. And say what you want, LCS really didn't take their chances, and at the end of the day, that's what happens.
Yeah, I mean, Lestian scored in like the 7th minute, and I thought personally it was going to be a rout, and then when Razak missed that sitter, I think Young Lions managed to like what Josh said, right? The second half was fantastic from them. I think the midfield trio, like what Josh pointed out, was a great performance from them in the middle of the park. And I think we've been a bit critical of the Sailors, and rightly so. I think Sailors, they're depending too much on the L square combo. We love to see the L square combo, and I think their midfield is lacking quite a bit. Haris Harun has been lackluster to say. I've always been a big what's the word I'm looking for? A big enforcer of like
Amira.
yeah, admirer of him going back to the centre mid role. Not as a centre back, but I think he's also showing his age quite a bit. And Hami Shahin can't do everything in the world. And Hami Shahin, great technical player, but I think that's where, like what George pointed out, the trio in the midfield for Young Lions really dictated the game, and then it kind of gave that momentum that the Young Lions needed, to get the well-deserved draw against the mighty Sailors. Yeah. Any more thoughts about this game, Josh?
I mean, final thought is I thought that Bernie was a bit disappointing coming on.
Mm,
When he came on in the previous game, I thought he was pretty good for his first 20 minutes outing. So a lot of people thought he'll kick on for this game, but he came on, he didn't really look up to it. Maybe he's still adapting to the climate, to the team. So hopefully he gets better as the weeks go by. I'm sure LCS fans will hope for that.
Yeah, I think LCS, I was gonna say my last point about this game was that and before I can pass it to John about Jacob Mahler, right? But I just got to say that you think the Young Lions are a bit disappointed that the season kind of like halted now because they got quite good momentum going into the past two games, right? The draw against DPMM, right, and then the Sailors draw as well. I think it looks really,
and
really good for them.
before that the Hougang game which they won.
Yeah, no, I
Might have
think
been.
that
It might have
it,
been.
it might have been. Yeah, you may be right. Let me check now. But yeah, great momentum. I feel like it's a bit wasted now that so they lost to no, so it was so it was Young Lions Hougang on the 18th of March. Then they lost to Tanjong Pagar and Balestier, and then the two draws that we just witnessed. I think it's quite sad to see that the momentum has been like a bit affected going into the SEA Games. But great performance from the Young Lions. And Jared, Jacob Mahler, your thoughts, man, Josh? I know you're a big fan of Jacob Mahler.
Yeah, I mean, coming back from a long-term injury is never easy for any player. So,
Yep.
first game, actually his first start, he got sent off. Right, I thought that was very unfortunate. So I think he's coming back strong, and it only bodes well for Singapore going into the SEA Games. I mean, perhaps it's a break from league action, but the core of the team will be playing the SEA Games, and hopefully they do Singapore proud in what is a very tough group.
Yeah, I think let's hope for the best. I think the chat has give they spur on the lads, Jared and Jordan. Again, we just want to say good luck at the SEA Games. I think you guys are going with Young Lions have done a great job the past like 1 month. The performances on the pitch is really really inspiring to see. Truth be told, I'll be a bit critical here. Once we see Young Lions, like, it could be a pushover, but it was a great performance from you guys the past 2 weeks. DPMM, well deserved, coming from behind, and then also this game Sailors as well, coming from behind, scoring that last minute penalty. Great penalty from Jordan, by the way. Fun fact: if you go on wiki, right, Jordan's got. He says he plays like centre back, he plays midfield, and he plays a striker. So maybe in the future we've got a very very versatile player. To look out for.
Great
For the
penalty
Singapore
taker
squad.
as well.
Yeah, very confident. It was the last kick of the game, right? I think that was the end.
Yeah,
Like, once
I think
the kick,
so.
they celebrated, and that's the end. So, I mean, I talked to a few Sailor fans like Eddie and whatnot, Charmaine, and they were actually quite they weren't very negative about the result because of course they were sad and they said they should have taken their chances, but they were very very inspired by the Young Lions performance, and they felt that the Sailors should have killed the game in the first half, which they didn't, right? And then that allowed Young Lions to trickle back into the momentum for second half. And yeah, Young Lions, man. I want to get a jersey. I'm doing a jersey review soon. I don't know. Let's see. I know that a lot of people have been asking around like how to get a Young Lions jersey. It's quite a tough task, right? Shamin is here. Welcome. So, yeah, Sailors very disappointing, and from their first game coming back from the break will be Geylang, which I think I will be there with a group of friends. I think it will be a cracker of a game at Tampines Hub. Any closing thoughts, Josh?
I think that's all for this game.
Okay, awesome. So, I think I'm talking a little bit too much for a guy that is sick, but once I get it going, the momentum flows. I hope my voice is not
This
so
is how to get the
raspy.
illness out of you.
Yeah, for sure. Let's see. Let's check my temperature right now. Okay, live on stream. Let's go. Wait, let's see. I know this should. Okay, let's see what's my temperature. Okay, I'm 36.3. That's all right. Not too bad. Not too bad. Okay, so let's crack on. Let's crack on. Next game we have Albirex versus DPMM. I did not watch this game unfortunately, and then Albirex. I think that was a pretty straightforward win for DPMM. I think we're gonna be a bit more critical about DPMM. They've been really, really lackluster. I think based on the preseason predictions, we believe that they're coming back. They're going to be an unknown commodity and they'll be strong, right? But right now, their performance on the pitch is really, really lackluster. Albirex, I think this was a comfortable victory for them. Any thoughts, Josh?
Yeah, I actually watched this game because LCS there was lightning alert, right? So
Mm-mm.
I think there were nice breaks where I could actually watch quite a bit of both games. So I did watch this game. I thought our breaks were comfortable. They actually had a lot of chances to kill the game sooner. But in the end, it's a typical Albrecht's performance. It's similar to the Tanjong Pagar game where they managed to get the goals. They didn't really look too troubled defensively. I only
Yep.
know there was a period in the second half, maybe around 60th or 70th minute, where DPMM had a few chances. But
Mm.
other than that, I thought it was very comfortable for Albrechts in this game. Nothing too much that troubled Hassan. And
Yep.
the attackers that they have. I think you were singing some crowd loose songs during this game, right? And then Riku actually scored a
Yeah,
long
yeah.
range shot. It was this game, right?
Riku's goal
Yeah.
was fantastic. It was a great game. Riku's goal. That was a banger of a goal, man. Outside foot. Was it outside foot? Outside the penalty
It's
box?
either outside of the foot or his toe actually.
Yeah,
But you
I
could
think
see what
he.
he was going for. Yeah.
He's like the new Kodai Tanaka, man. Really, like that revelation. I think he's coming off the bench more. He's gonna be a bit more of an integral part for the Albrecht team, and he's really a talent. Like really, really. Like he's a bit smaller stature, but bro, he's got skills to pay the bills, man. Jesus. Yeah. Josh said this game was very comfortable for Albirex. DPMM, yeah. Maybe we'll go through DPMM later when we talk about Tampines versus DPMM, which we both watched live. I know Josh told me off stream that the other day when we watched the Tampines game at Jalan Besar, you said that Kunori had a quite a off day today. I mean, this game, right?
Yeah, he had a quiet game. I think he had a few
Mm.
shots, but it's an off game. I think for him if he doesn't score, given the form he's been on. But you know what? It's not a rarity this season. It's Albrecht and Hassan Sani clean sheet. So
Yep.
well on his way to the Golden Glove, you would say.
Yeah, Golden Glove indeed. And fun fact, we are gonna do if I get better, right? I'm not as in it will be definitely confirmed. We will do a team of the season thus far. So far in this Premier League start of Premier League, I think that would be quite a cool video to just share. I don't know whether you want to do a live stream or a short like 8-minute video. We'll discuss that off stream, so you guys can look forward to that, and also a jersey review. Josh and I, we've managed to, like Thanos, we are collecting the 2023 jerseys. We managed to get all seven available home jerseys. So we're going to do a review, ultimate review of all the seven jerseys. And I just got to say, right, that the seven jerseys are all crackers, man. It was really tough for me to like put a list for like ranking it 7 to number 1. But yeah, look forward to that as well. Um, just couldn't get a DPMM jersey and a Young Lions jersey, but we will. I think I bought a DPMM like 2011 jersey, and then Young Lions I probably just use a Singapore jersey. Any more thoughts about this game, Josh?
I think with this win, Albrecht's really looking quite solid, quite comfortable. Besides the Tampines game off the other than that, it's been quite a flawless first 1/3 of the season for them.
Yeah. Just a quick question, Xavier. Have you been shooting the games? I've not seen you shot the game quite a while. Probably busy with school, but great to see you've got your media accreditation and yeah, great to see Xavier. I'll probably catch up with you soon after I get better for sure. Yeah, next game. I'm gonna sneeze. Let me just put. Excuse me. My apologies. Sorry, I think that like gave kind of like a feedback, like a cracking noise. My headphones are a bit funny today. It keeps cracking. I hope it's not too bad on people receiving end for the viewers. But welcome, Edgar. Appreciate you coming into the stream. Studying for exam. We'll be back after the SEA Games. Okay, cool, Xavier. We're looking forward and good luck for exam, Xavier. I think we look forward to seeing you again. Dura, welcome. And yeah, this game I was there live. Went to watch Tanjong Pagar versus Balestier. You want to give your thoughts first, Josh? Did you watch this game?
No, I didn't. I was actually watching the Hougang Tampines game when this was going on, but I saw the highlights and then also I was tracking the scores live. I was very surprised when I saw it was like what first 20 minutes it was 2-2. So it was like really a back and forth game, but the game was won by I thought Hoshino based on highlights had a very good game.
Oh
Dropping
yeah,
indeed
Yep, I was watching
Of
it live,
course,
and Hoshino
yeah.
was great. Like Sugita and Hoshino, both of them really stepped up. And but I got to say that Tanjong Pagar could be a bit disappointed with the referees officiating that night. A lot of unfavorable calls went against them. And I think if I'm not wrong, the third goal for Balestier was offside. I was it was right in front of me, and I swear it was offside lah. But for Balestier, but I mean sometimes VAR doesn't do their checks, and if I'm not wrong, also VAR, I know they definitely did their checks lah, but they didn't put it on the screen like VAR check in progress whatsoever. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, this game, first 16 minutes there was like 4 goals, which was really worth the money. That traveling to Jurong East, it was a great game. A very open style football, and considering the fact that I kind of expected Tanjong Pagar to put up a bit more of a defensive. You know, they've been really good defensively with the fullbacks that they play at the back, right? But I think this game they had a really off day, getting exposed by the wingers with a lot of pace. And like what you said, right? Hoshino had a great performance, you know, holding up the play, spreading the ball wide for Sugita coming from the midfield. Daniel Go, Tanaguchi also had a great game. 2 goals from him, if I'm not
Ho Alun scored a goal, right? In
Oh,
this game,
Wailun,
the first
yes.
goal. Yeah.
Yes.
So I think, last week when we were doing this show, I was saying how Balestier actually missed Hoshino. They don't have the outlet up front. They look a very different team. And we talked previously about how, they're very dependent on their attack because their defense can let them down. So I think, this really shows Balestier when they have their full attacking complement, what they can do. And yeah, I think Taniguchi is having a really, really solid start to the season for another
Yeah,
2 goals, right?
2 goals for him. Tanaguchi.
So
I gotta say Kenji was very poor. Should have done better, but I guess if your defense cannot expose like for the 3 goals, 3 out of 4 goals were quite bad defending. Like they were pretty exposed lah. Like what you said, right, Josh? Hoshino was really great for them. Like I think they really respected Hoshino, and it really showed. Daniel Go had a pretty quiet game, but Tanaguchi, Ho Wailun, great performance from them. Tanjung Pagar, the Jali had a great goal to rebound back, respond back. It was like Tanjung Pagar, Balestier opened the score and then Tanjung Pagar just responded in like the next minute. Excuse me. And Blake, I think Sugic had a great game. I know we've been a bit critical of Sugic, but Sugic knows how to control the ball. He's got the foreigner frame, right? He controls the ball really well, and the Balestier's midfield kind of struggled against him, but they weren't clinical enough to take their chances up front. And I think Tanjung Pagar will go through. Marin was pretty poor. Marin had a great chance, and it was a true ball to him, if I'm not wrong, on like the 60th minute, and then he was clear on goal, and then the ball hit his heel of the foot, and then it went backwards. And then we are just like, oh my god, Marin, like, you can't do this kind of thing. You need to take your chances, right? Marin has been pretty disappointing as of late. And yeah, any more thoughts about this game?
yeah, I mean, previous stream we also talked about how like Balestier, they've had 3 wins this season, 2 against Young Lions. So this game was a test for them, I would say, but based on their display, I guess they surpassed it with a win. And it looks like Tanjong Pagar and Balestier have had, a bit of a start to the season. Can put it that way. Quite inconsistent, you would say. They win when you expect them to lose. They lose when you expect them to win, that kind of thing. But overall, it's probably they're doing okay, I guess. Yeah.
Very, very true. I think Tanjong Pagar is really the team that when you don't expect a result from them, they play hard and they get the result, right? Then when like this game, I was there. I really thought that Tanjong Pagar can get a result because Balestier's defense has been very, very leaky, right? But they just couldn't capitalize. So let's move on. Great game. Not many people in attendance. Maybe next time can kind of get more people to Tanjong Pagar or Balestier games. Excuse me. Sorry, I apologize. I'm like on the verge of sneezing. Some here and there. But okay, let's move on to the next game. Hougang versus Tampines. This was a game that Josh was watching it live. Most of the, not live, sorry, or through the stream, right? At home.
Yeah, stream.
And Hougang can consider themselves really, really unlucky. I think they played their hearts out and they considered the last minute penalty. I can't remember what happened with the Boris penalty, but was it a penalty for Hougang, do you think? Hazwan Halim.
For Hougang, I actually don't really recall how Hougang won the penalty. It's like my mind is fixed on that Tampines penalty incident at the end, right?
Yeah, so Hazwan Halim kind of like fell down quite cheaply lah. Like Yeah, I think it was Chuya. What they pushed him down, and then Hazuan just
Okay, oh
made
yeah, I sort of
yeah
recall. I think it was actually might have been Milos. I thought that was a
Milos. Yeah,
penalty. Yeah,
yeah.
but I thought the finish was actually quite lucky because
Mm.
it was quite a poor penalty. But I think keeper got a hand to it. But Hougang once they got the lead, a lot of question marks came into my head, like whether they could keep it because they've shown in previous games where they lost a lot of leads, right? But they actually did pretty well to limit Tampines. Maybe an off day for Tampines, but at
Yep.
the end, Tampines really fought hard, and it was a foul. But questions have to be asked whether there was a foul on Irian in the build up to the penalty as well.
And then Irian also had a great performance. I mean, as a debut as 17-year-old, I think he did pretty well. It's just unfortunate he tripped Faris, right? That was the penalty for Tampines.
Yeah,
And yeah, I think I was talking to Eldrin, a big Tampines fan. He's there almost every game, and he said that I thought this was a good game, but he said the first 80 minutes was pretty boring, lah. And then the last 10 minutes or last 20 minutes with the so long extra time, it kind of built up from there and had a great end to the game. Yeah, I think Tampines can consider themselves a bit lucky getting away with a draw, but yeah,
yeah. I
fine.
think it
Yep.
was quite a poor performance from Tampines, and I'm sure they will admit that themselves because they weren't at their free flowing best. They weren't keeping the ball as well as we know they can, and then they didn't create that many chances as well. When Boris had a chance here and there, his final ball did let him down quite badly.
Yep.
And actually, the best player was Jordan Vestring. If I'm not wrong, he had like two goal mouth clearances. It's
Mm.
just unfortunate he had to go off injured, and then Irian came on, who I thought he did not too bad for a debut 16-year-old against Faris Ramli, who's been having a
Electric.
sensational start to the season, right? But at the
Yeah.
end, even if he was may have been far, I thought he didn't really need to dive in the way he did. But it's just one of those things where he'll learn from it, I guess.
Yep. He'll learn from it for sure. And yeah, I think like what Bill Rehan was saying that Jordan pocketed Faris to a good extent. I think this is what Josh is saying. Vestering had a great game. And Anders Eflin also, I heard he had a great game as well. Hougang defense, they shot it up and yeah, I think they held on really well. It's just unfortunate that they considered the last minute penalty. Yeah, I think we'll talk more about Tampines later. We'll move on from this game. I think Hougang, big news is that Firdaus Kasim has been relegated, demoted to the youth team, and then who took over their assistant coach, right?
Marco,
Yeah, Marco. Yeah, Kazuma had
former
a great game as
Balestier
well.
coach.
Yeah. So yeah, Hougang finally cutting their 7 game losing spree, I think. 6 or 7 games. So at least they got a draw and yeah, I think it's unfortunate. Do you think Firdaus was maybe should have given a longer period after this inspiring result for them?
Yeah, it was definitely their best performance of the season. I think no one can doubt that. But I actually read somewhere that the decision was made before the game, right? That Firdaus was not going to continue as the head coach. So I think perhaps they didn't judge it based on this game alone, but on the 8 games they
Yeah.
played so far.
Yep.
So based on that, they decided to make a change. So hopefully things improve for Hougang after the break.
Yep. We'll move on. We'll talk about Tampines a little more later. Let's move on to the next game, which is next game is Tampines and oh shit, I did change the. Hold on, give me a minute. Tampines was DPMM 2-0. We were there. We went to watch. Big up to the Tampines organization. I think Nick, Desmond, thank you for keep coming up to us and saying that you guys are like is giving us a word of affirmation that we are doing something for the community, and it's really inspiring that we get this kind of like compliments, and we don't take it for granted. We are humbled by it. And yeah, Tampines organization, I think they were fantastic. Before we begin this game, if you guys didn't know, Tampines chartered buses from Tampines to go to Jalan Besar because as you guys know, Tampines was affected with the JSSL. The pitch was kind of destroyed, and
And
yeah, I think
Tampines actually brought their graphics along, right, for the scoreboard.
yep, they did. So
So
I
it
think
really, I mean, they tried to make it feel as much of a home game as they could, despite
yeah,
being away from OTH.
yeah, and fair play to them. I think this is what these are the small things that I can assure you that the local fans or like the community will not take it for granted, and they will notice this kind of small things that the club does, and big kudos to Tampines, man. Although I'm like kind of a Geylang fan, but I gotta say big kudos to Tampines. Maybe one day I will join the mighty stacks. Elgin was disturbing me. He said like, "Hey, your post every time about Tampines. I think it's time to join Tampines, lah." But again, now let's move on to the game. More importantly, this game Tampines. First two goals, Ong Yuan and who was it that scored the second goal?
Yes, yeah.
Yasir. And that was like the first 10 minutes. And then everyone thought it's going to be like an onslaught, like more goals were coming. But I don't know. I had this feeling. I told Pushpam, right? Ryan Pushpam, our friend, and I told Eddie, I said, like, I think it's going to be 2-0. And, it stand out pretty. I think my prediction came true at the end. But Faris Ramli, man, with the great Ole, I think everyone is like milking it a bit. But what a great individual piece of skill. Yeah. And your thoughts about this game, Josh?
Yeah, I think that moment just showed the confidence that Tampines have on the ball. Joe Chu had a great piece of skill against Hougang as well, which
Yep.
was a bit less talked about. But it's just the way you see the players just move the ball around almost effortlessly.
Yep.
Whether it's the centre backs, whether it's especially the midfielders. I mean, they missed Shah in this game, but it almost felt like he wasn't missed that badly because you have players like Ong Yuan coming in, you had Joe Chu coming off the bench. Saifullah came off the bench and he put in a pretty decent shift as well. So, I mean,
Yep.
it's just a confidence thing. You can see that the team, despite the draw against Hougang, they are still playing with a lot of confidence given the start to the season they've had.
Yeah, and just a very unfortunate piece of news that Taufik had a concussion or something like that, head injury. So we wish him all the best. He was stretchered off. Yeah, but like what Josh has repeatedly, said about Tampines, they've got really good depth, and I think it goes to show that when they are lacking options here and there, like Shah Shahrian with the unfortunate suspension, they've got players off the bench ready to go with that kind of quality to upkeep the kind of play style that Gavin Ball dictate. And TK is here. He said first Tampines goal went down as an own goal officially. So you weren't celebrated
huge
it, but
deflection.
yeah, I took a huge deflection. You know what? Before we kind of like not say end the thing, but let's talk a little bit in depth about Tampines, right? Do you think that I'll pose two questions to Josh, right? So first question is, do you think Boris has been a very, very disappointing this year, or do you think that he's just going through a bit of like a rut right now?
Yeah, I think both of the above actually. I think he's been disappointing and he's also going through a rut. I think especially the last two games from open play, he hasn't been that great. Maybe a bit of a confidence issue because there are times where he can take things on first time he decides to take a touch, or there are times where he perhaps only needs 2 touches, he overthinks it and takes 3 or 4 touches. So I mean, perhaps it's a confidence thing which really is really affecting him right now. But he still shows his quality because he does pull defenders away. He does create some goals like layoffs and little 1-2. So I think his quality still does help Tampines. But hopefully for them, he does get his scoring touch back as well. If I'm not wrong, he didn't score in the Sailors game, right?
No, he didn't.
And then the Hougang game, he got that penalty. And then no goals again in this game. But, I think people know what he can do. So perhaps a streak will come for him later on in the season.
So sorry about that. I'm blowing my nose, but yeah, Aiman, welcome Aiman. And Goal FC also said, does DPMM have to fly to SG every game? Yeah, they do. If they have if they have home away, they have to go back to Brunei soon, right? And then they got to come back to Singapore, fly back to Singapore. So Rising Stack said that Boris is the reason why Tampines Stack are doing good. Too many event focus on him, or players like Taufik Faris and Yasir can attack too. Yeah, I mean we did. We've acknowledged that. We've acknowledged that Boris, they kind of build up play and the kind of threat that they give him that respect. So it gives Faris a lot of space on the wing, and that's why he's capitalized. But I think what Josh and I are leading towards is it's been definitely disappointing with the kind of caliber that he has shown in the past 2 years, right? And don't take any credit away from him. I think the kind of respect that the defenders are giving to him, it has allowed Tampines to be a bit more fluid in their midfield and their attacks. But yeah, Boris was very, very disappointing in this game, I reckon. He was closed down quite a lot. Yeah, Josh, go ahead.
I think he still has shown that he can show up in the big moments. He scored the winning goal against Albirex, and then in the last minute when he had to show up against Hougang with the penalty, he scored as well. So I think, perhaps just been less than ideal start to the season, he still scored a number of goals, and coming to the next round of fixtures, perhaps he's gonna get a lot more.
Yeah, most definitely. But yeah, so that's the first question. A bit extensive first question. But second, do you think that Tampines can be proud of their first nine games, right? Yeah, 9 games, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, 9 games. Do you think that they can continue this good run of form and kind of catch Albirex? They are 1 point away from Albirex right now. But actually, wait, let's move on to the standings that we can ask this question to Josh. Pass the time over to you. But here are the standings for Game Week 9. Yeah, Josh, so your thoughts. Do you think Tampines can be proud so far? And what's your biggest surprise from the first Game Week 9 standings right now?
Yeah, I think definitely they can be proud of going undefeated in these 8 games, and most importantly, they beat the other two in the top three, Albirex and Sailors, while
Mm.
at it. Perhaps you can say they'll be a bit disappointed with the draws against Geylang and Hougang. The Geylang game, maybe first game of the season, they were still adapting with the new players. And then Hougang game, perhaps an off day. But if our Tampines player or fan, if you told me I'll get 20 points unbeaten from the first 8 games, definitely would have taken it. And what's impressed me most about Tampines this season is their defense. Actually, there were a lot of times last season you saw a lot of lapses of concentration, them conceding a lot of goals in the games. But in this season, I think the only game where they didn't really have that much control or where they had lapses of concentration was the Sailors game,
Yep.
which they actually should have won a lot more comfortably. So I think at times, you talk about how after they scored the 2 goals, they weren't going to score anymore against Brunei. I think they were quite comfortable not doing so. I think they were sort of pleased to just pass the ball around. If the extra goals came, they would come. But what was important, to not concede any goals and to just preserve that, 2-goal lead and to see the game out, which they did, I thought, superbly. Yeah, so
Yep.
I think Tampines would be very, very happy with the start of the season they've made. And they're really pushing Albrecht all the way. I mean, they've got 4-point lead to the Sailors already. And, a lot of people are actually saying that DPMM and Hougang would challenge Albrecht and
Yep.
Sailors more than Tampines,
Yep.
despite the way Tampines have played in recent seasons, which I found a bit weird at the start. But, you know, you asked me
Well,
what the biggest shock would be seeing DPMM and Hougang in the
Hougang.
bottom three with Young Lions.
Yeah, I think I touched on it earlier on this stream. Like DPMM was an unknown commodity. We've repeated on many streams, and yeah, they've been really really lackluster. Actually, yeah, I forgot to talk about DPMM quite a bit. I think like quality wise, they're lacking quite a bit lah. But I think they're someone was saying in the chat that when Pinot, the coach, kind of like adapted to the game against Tampines, they played way better, and I would agree with that as well. But no way they were like. I think Tampines was very comfortable winning that game. The only way DPM had like solid chances, like they had to play a long ball, which Milos and what Josh is saying, Milos and Shuya was fantastic. So far this season, the two foreign centre backs have shown their worth, their quality. And yeah, a bigger surprise for Josh will be DPM and Hougang languishing quite far bottom of the league. For me, I gotta say, Geylang is only 3 points away from Sailors. I would reckon that Geylang actually was kind of like the way that they're playing this year. I actually do not think that they deserve to be 13 points. They are, as you can see, the goal difference -2, right? And yeah, I'm very surprised that they can get the results against the bit like they drew against Tampines, like what you said. They got hammered by Albirex. Sailors coming up soon, and yeah, but they got hammered. They got this. Sorry, my alarm. They lost to Sailors as well, but I think they got good results from the other teams. It's just
Yeah, I
one.
mean they beat Hougang, they beat DPMM, right?
Yeah, Tanjong Pagar they lost, which was a bit irritating. But as for personally,
They
but
beat Balestier quite comfortably.
yeah,
So
correct. Yeah, and another bigger surprise is seeing Hougang right at the foot of the bottom of the table. Young Lions, as what we mentioned in the first part of the stream, that they are giving their spirited performances. And yeah, it's good to see Young Lions. It's not like the pushovers that people expect them to be, and great performances for them the past like 1 month. I gotta give it to them. I think the games have been really close. They lost Tanjong Pagar 2-1. They drew with DPMM and Sailors, no slouch overs, and they won against Hougang. Right, that Jared Gallagher banger of a goal.
yeah, I think what you can say about Young Lions is they're not really getting hammered.
Yep.
So I think their biggest margin of defeat was it the Albirex game 3-0?
Yeah,
If I'm not wrong. Even Tampines they lost, was it what, 3-0 as well? I think so.
yeah,
Around there.
both 3-0, correct.
It's not been like previous seasons where Albirex will beat them like 6-0. Last season they
And
lost to
one.
Sailors 10-1. So it's been a lot, they've been showing a lot more fight. I think that's where credit has to be given as well. I mean, sometimes when you're losing 1-0, you can go all out, gung ho, try and attack, and then you get hammered, right? So I think
Yeah,
even at 1-0 down against the likes of DPMM, against the likes of Sailors, they showed a lot of fighting spirit.
yeah.
They didn't lose their heads, they kept their head, they stuck to their plan, and they were rewarded in the end with the equalizing goals.
Yeah, I think, and gotta give credit where credit is due. The Kobayashi duo, I think Jun Kobayashi at the back with Jacob Mahler has put a very good resounding defensive structure at the back. Kyrian, right? Is it Kyrian also doing
Kiran
quite
Teo, yeah.
well? Kyrian Teo, yeah. I think he's been a great defensive outlet for them. Elijah as a winger, I think he's also been impressing pretty much. And also like what George said, right, the midfield trio, right? Harry Stewart, Jared Gallagher, and Kan Kobayashi. Those three have been really good
And then
the
Jordan
past few
up
weeks.
front, whether it's a striker as left wing,
Yeah,
I was a bit skeptical, because I used to seeing him play at centre back, and then sometimes he'll be like an emergency striker. When Young Lions needed a goal last season, they'll throw him on, right?
yeah,
So I was a bit skeptical to see him playing there regularly, but I think slowly he's proving me wrong because technically he does have that quality. The way he crosses the ball, the way he finishes, he does have a lot of composure as well. So maybe he has found his position as a forward. You never know.
yeah. And Kickoff Art is here. Cheers, mate. Welcome. He said, can't wait for SEA Games, even though the tough group. Yeah, I think it's going to be a tough group. We may discuss that in a future episode. We're going to end the stream soon. No open discussion today. Sorry, guys. I'm really feeling under the weather. I need to go and rest. But as usual, thanks everyone for tuning in. Really do appreciate. Help us like the stream. I think it helps a lot with the algorithm. And okay, so the last slide we have is the usual, right? The top three goal scorers of from game week 9 as we enter this long break. Tanaguchi with a brace, so now he's extended his lead to 8 goals. Kanori didn't have a good performance against DPMM, so I think he's stuck to 7 goals. And Lestian, right? He's 6 goals right now. So I think these are the top three. Yeah, Razak, missing that sitter, I'm still very appalled by it. Do you think that Tanaguchi can run away with this award because he seems to be scoring at every game with a good brace against Tanjong Pagar?
I still think it's going to be between Boris and Sia at the end
Okay,
of the day. Boris has
okay.
6 as well, right? If I'm not wrong. It's
No,
either
Boris
five
has
or
five, I
six.
think.
Am
Five,
I
five.
5 or 6? Yeah. So I think he'll go on a run of games where he gets goals, and he'll catch up. So Taniguchi, he's having a strong run of goals at the moment, but 2 goals, actually maybe even more against Young Lions because he played Young Lions twice, right?
Yeah. So maybe, but I mean, we just credited Young Lions with a good defensive, so we can't assume that they're going to feast against Young Lions all the time. And like what you rightly pointed out, the defeats for Young Lions have not been like a 10-1 or like a 7-0 or 6-0, right? It's great to see Young Lions putting a very spirited performances each game, even though they lose, but it's like a close 2-1, draws and whatnot. Yeah.
14
Um.
minutes in,
hmm.
Newcastle are beating Spurs 3-0.
Oh dear. Is it
West
at
Ham
the
are beating Bournemouth 2-0.
Is it at the Toilet Bowl Stadium or is it at
No, it's
is
at
it at St. Mary's?
St. James's
It's
Park.
St. Mary's. Don't even talk to me about St. Mary's. Freaking Saints. What a terrible week for me. But yeah, St. James Park 3-0 against Spurs. And West Ham, they drew. I mean, this goes to show that West Ham's on the upswing. They had a very resounding victory in their Conference League, right? 4-1, if I'm not wrong, against Ghent or Genk, I can't remember, but yeah, and they seem to be adding a
Yeah.
silverware, and they seem to be quite safe for the relegation battle right now. And Leicester won yesterday, right? So it blows the title, not title, the relegation battle wide open again. Yeah, so um, let's see now. So we'll end this stream. Let's just do like a 7-minute outro, right? So let's talk a little bit about Premier League, right? Anyway, first of all, thanks guys. I know it's a bit late notice that we're supposed to start this stream at 9:30, but I wanted to rest early, so yeah, I want to start the stream a bit earlier and then we'll end earlier. Yeah, I don't want to keep us too long. And yeah, Josh, what are your thoughts of who's going to get relegated from the Premier League?
I think it's still a very, very hard call at the moment.
Yeah.
Looking at the table,
Forest?
I think there's quite a chance Forest will go down with Southampton, and I'm just gonna say the current bottom three:
Which is it Leicester?
Everton, Forest, and
Oh,
Southampton.
so yeah, okay. So if you guys have been the OGs of the stream, right? You guys, will remember. I may not remember. I think we did put. You can go scroll our Instagram, right? Like way down pre-season, we did predict who will be relegated. If I'm not right, I predicted Southampton. I predicted Bournemouth, and then I predicted
I
who
think it
was
was
it?
Leeds.
Leeds, yeah, Leeds. Leeds is so. I mean, how far down? They're what, 16 or 15 right
1
now?
point,
1 point. So
16
quite
by
close.
1 point.
And then Josh, I remember Josh was Bournemouth, Forest, and
Forest,
Everton, right?
yeah. So I've got
So
2 out of 3
in the
currently
bottom
in
three right
the
now. Yeah, so I think
bottom
it's
3.
quite a fair. I don't think we were really off with our predictions. I think it's quite close. Bournemouth, I think it's quite safe after a good 2-3 week spell for them. So Simon say, "What's that? Everyone wait, Brendan social distancing. Yeah, I'm just sick, so I just want to make sure that I don't pass to Josh. Hence why we are remotely doing this stream. Say Chelsea, Josh say, Josh. They won't let
Next
Chelsea
season,
relegate.
Chelsea will get relegated next season.
Oh dear. Spurs, man. Spurs are looking terrible right now. Kickoff out will be very sad. You say that Spurs relegated. Yeah, so maybe the last question for you guys is okay, so not last question. Just give some updates. We're gonna do some content in the next 2 weeks. This break, we're gonna do some. Maybe we'll do a live stream about SEA Games. We'll do a jersey review, and then we will do like maybe a live stream for the SEA Games. So we'll see about that. And you know what else can we? And last but not least, do you think that it's Arsenal? It has Arsenal lost the title in this recent draw with Southampton?
I think they're still in it for sure. I mean, they still got a 5 point lead, but they've played 2 games more and still have to play City, right?
Yeah, five
I think in
points.
football anything can happen. City may very well go and lose 2 games themselves.
Yeah.
You just never know. But I think at this stage you can't be dropping points at home to the bottom place team. Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
I
it's just
think Liverpool
tough
we were
one.
2-0 up. We bottled it a bit. West Ham we were 2-0 up. We bottled it, and then Southampton we had a
A
disastrous start to the
mistake
game.
in the first 30 seconds.
Yep.
So I
Yep.
think it's just the nerves, maybe the pressure is getting to the players a little bit, maybe a bit of both physical and mental fatigue kicking in.
Yep.
Losing Saliba has really hurt Arsenal, I think.
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm very critical about. Very critical about Rob Holding. You know, he's not been playing terrible the past 2-3 games, right? But you see, he lacks that star quality, and you see the goals that we consider against, especially the third goal against Southampton. The first, I can't remember who, Lianco or whatever headed the ball, and then Rob Holding didn't even challenge it. Like, it was very sloppy defending at the corner. And yeah, I mean, I was just talking to my dad about it. My dad's an Arsenal fan as well. It's like, we were talking about how we should show up our centre back role, but it's not easy to find a good centre back that's willing to ride the bench, right? Rob Holding,
Well, I mean, you did buy
mm,
the Polish dude, right?
yep,
Kiwior
yep.
in January, so maybe he hasn't. I don't know. It says a lot that he's not being played ahead of Rob Holding.
Yeah. I
Maybe
mean, he had
he's
quite
not
a
yet
bad game,
flattered
his
a
debut, right?
little bit
If I'm not wrong.
in the Europa League, right?
Yeah, so maybe Arteta knows better, but yeah, I mean next week is gonna be, oh yeah, and probably we'll do a live stream for a City Arsenal. I think that
I
will be
actually
a
think it's
cracker.
Thursday early morning.
Oh, Thursday early morning.
Yeah, the weekday games this week.
Okay, so let's see whether I can go a live stream. I think I want to see Arsenal taking it on against City at the Etihad. Hopefully, you can get a point or even a victory, but I highly doubt so. Fourth goal for Newcastle, so Newcastle is really wrecking Tottenham right
I
now.
mean, City, they love this time of the season. They just go
Yep,
on that run when they get like 10 wins in a row. They just
yep,
love the pressure, and they have a manager who knows what it takes to win the Premier
yeah.
League at least. So
Guardiola
it's going to
knows
be
that.
tough for Arsenal, but I mean, it's just like the next 6 games to go. Just have to enjoy the ride.
Yep, enjoy the ride indeed. And even if we drop the title, I think it's a very successful season coming from the preseason, and I think we overachieve lah, right? Of course, I want Arsenal to win the league, but overachieving is also a good thing to take take refuge, not refuge. Take good positives from the season. And what was I gonna say? Arsenal, a great spirited performance at the last 10 minutes. Right, we scored Odegaard with an 88-minute goal. I said, okay, the comeback's on, and then Saka scored in the 90th minute, and then Trossard hit the bar in like the 93rd minute. Really, really close. Could be a comeback for Arsenal. And Simon said, you never win again." Wait, Simon's a United fan. I
I
remember.
think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
So,
I mean, at the end of the day, if Arsenal finish second, I do think this Arsenal team will be compared to Liverpool's team that lost that lead in 2013, 2014 under Brendan Rodgers. And
where you
I do
guys
think
couldn't
that
defend for your lives, right?
that Liverpool team really overperformed, and this Arsenal team has what it takes to keep this momentum up going into the next few seasons for sure.
Yeah. Simon says a
That
United
Liverpool
fan.
team was really at that peak already, and they overperformed to that extent. But this Arsenal team, I think, is just beginning.
Yeah. But the team is who was in the team? Suarez, Coutinho. Was it Coutinho in the
Kolo
team?
Toure.
Colo Toure,
Yeah,
and
but
what
the
Skirtle, is it?
front six was Joe Allen, Steven Gerrard, Coutinho, Sterling, Sturridge, and Suarez.
Yeah, Sturridge.
The
Sturridge had
title
a
was lost by the back five.
yeah. Who was the back five? Skirtle, Colo Toure,
Mignolet, Scuttle, Toure, Flanagan, and
Moreno.
Ali Sissoko. And yeah, I think Moreno is in that team as well.
Yeah. So
But yeah, I
okay.
mean, it was a team that it was a mismatch of people, I guess, like really a mix of youth and experience, whereas this Arsenal team is mainly, you can see it, most of the players staying there for the next 5 years easily.
Yeah. And also I think what's bugging me is that the lack of midfield reinforcement. I think we did go and sign Jorginho, but you can see our midfield is really
And Trossard.
struggling. Yeah,
But
Trossard was
yeah,
a
I
great
mean,
signing.
perhaps you still need a quality centre mid.
Yeah,
I
but
mean,
it goes to
Xhaka
the
had a good start to the season, but he's dropped off a little bit as well.
yeah, most definitely. But you can see the game against Southampton, we really do miss him. Especially trying to fight back from the 2-goal deficit, 3-1 down, right, for like from the 60th minute to all the way to like the 80th minute. You can see Partey was trying to do a bit too much, because I think Arteta told him to Xhaka's not around, so you need to up your
He
distribution a
had
bit.
that
And I
long
think,
shot at the end, right?
oh my
Which
god, I was
over.
shouting. So I was like, "Why are you doing?" But like, bro, like there were so many options and they had a lot of space. I mean, okay, a lot of space granted. That's why he took the shot. But you have options on your left and right. Trossard was waiting for the ball. Odegaard also from the Odegaard, and he has this like merchant of a left foot, where his shot power is not fantastic, but he knows how to place the ball really well, which led to the second goal for Arsenal. Yeah, that's just a roundup about Premier League. You guys enjoy it? Maybe you can talk more about Premier League. We've not talked about Premier League for quite a while. We'll see whether you guys want a bit more Premier League talk. I think you guys love, both Singapore Premier League and the Barclays Premier League, English Premier League. Is it still called Barclays no more? English Premier League.
I don't think so. But I
Yeah,
have no
yeah.
idea how Spurs are losing 5-0 after like 23 minutes.
Jesus, who scored for Newcastle? Let's see. Jacob Murphy, 2 goals. Joel Linton, and then Isak, 2 goals as well. Brace for both Jacob Murphy and Isak. How is Tottenham losing this badly? They're going through the gutter right now. And yeah, I think that will be the end for this stream. Thank you everyone for tuning in. It was a bit of a last-minute decision to start a bit early. Again, because you can see I'm not feeling too well. I want to go and have an early rest. And yeah, Josh, any closing thoughts from you?
Yeah, I think it's going to be a break, but there's still going to be a lot of, I mean, a break in terms of the SPL, right? But there's still going to be a lot of footballing action that we can discuss, whether it's maybe a mini review of the season so far for SPL, as well as we're going to see City Arsenal this coming week, as well as Liverpool's charge to hopefully a top 4 finish, which seems unlikely the way Newcastle are currently playing.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's still going to be an enjoyable end to the season. Of course, the SEA Games, where you're going to cheer our young players on as well.
Yep. And oh yeah, I forgot to mention, we also do like a short episode of like our team of the season as well for the Singapore Premier League. Yeah, with that being said, thank you very much everyone. Again, I apologize that I'm not feeling under the weather. I'm feeling under the weather, and hope that this stream was conducive, right? And also, Simon made a good point. He said hopefully LCS resign Lestian. There's been talks of him wanting to resign, but I don't know. Maybe there's, maybe the club may not want to resign him. I don't know, but he's been a great player, asset for them the past 2 years. Yeah, with that, thank you very much, guys. Josh, anything else before I play the outro?
That's all. Maybe I just answer Xavier's question on penalty taker. Maybe
Yep.
can give it to Trent. It's been fantastic last 3 games, so maybe he needs more confidence through penalties.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, have a good week ahead, everyone.
Yeah. Cheers, everyone. Great week ahead to everyone, and hope everyone has a great week. It's Sunday right now, and cheers to all people, everyone that is tuned in. Appreciate it. Appreciate you're spending our Sunday with us. And yeah, look forward for more content. And cheers, guys. Take care, and I will see you guys soon. Cheers, everyone. Thanks everyone for the well wishes. Appreciate it, and we'll see you guys soon. Have a good week. Ciao.